I watched the evolution of both these guys. This didn't happen overnight. In 2022, before he owned Twitter, Elon tweeted this chart depicting how he felt about the liberal side having shifted so much that it left a basically liberal centrist like him now labeled a conservative. I related. I related to the kind of mean girl you get from the cool kids in Wokeville when you're perceived that way. They tried real hard to cancel Rogan a few years ago. And when Elon hosted Saturday Night Live in 2021, well before he was a Trumper, some of the cast members gave him the cold shoulder for the sin of being rich.
Bill Maher just dropped a political grenade, and this time he wasn't going for laughs. On a no-holds-barred episode of Real Time, Maher lit into the far left with a monologue so scorching it could have doubled as a flamethrower. He accused progressives of losing touch with reality, and even hinted this could be his swan song. Gasp-worthy for the professionally outraged, sure. But if you've been following Maher's slow burn over the years, this moment felt inevitable. He's been circling this reckoning like a shark smelling blood. Before we dig into the aftermath, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the next truth nuke. Let's get into it.
To win my vote, don't give me the ick. You know what the ick is, right? It's a term mostly used in the dating world to describe that moment when one of the people, usually the man, does something so icky that the woman cannot forgive it or forget it. Like sending a pic or being mean to the waitress, paying for dinner with a coupon, getting his mother to call you when you dump him, asking for in baby voice. Once you give her the ick, it's a wrap.
So if you're wondering what finally pushed Bill Maher to the edge and made him ready to jump ship, here's the raw, no BS truth. The left has veered so far off course they're basically doing donuts in a clown car. Maher's been sounding the alarm for years, warning Democrats they're headed for a political cliff, and they ignored him. Now it's not just about pushing outlandish ideas. It's about brainwashing kids to hate their own country while glorifying regimes that'd love to see it burn. That's not progressivism, that's straight-up madness. For Maher, this was the breaking point. He'd had enough. He unleashed a classic bare-knuckle rant that pulled zero punches. Let's just say he emptied the clip. And honestly, thank God he did.
The people who are getting the big crowds right now are AOC and Bernie Sanders. They're going around the country. Thank you, there's that same guy. I call him the always wrong guy. Okay, but I feel like, big crowds, again, the shiny object that the Democrats chase all the. It's not about the big crowds that come out to you when you're talking in a festival or wherever they are. I think it's because I think Bernie showed up at Coachella. That must have been fun for the fans. It's who shows up on Election Day. And I just don't see that's the ticket. I mean, Cory Booker, I know you've worked with him. I like Cory a lot from my home state of New Jersey. Made a speech for 25 hours. Again, just whacking each other off. This is just not what's going to get the job done.
You could practically see the steam rising off Maher's forehead as he tore into party icons like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, blaming them for the collapse of patriotism among young Democrats. The kicker? Sanders and AOC seem to be walking right into his critique. It's less about building America up and more about fanning flames and pandering to the loudest radicals in the room. Maher's voice cracked with rage as he blasted Democratic leadership, accusing them of tossing aside core American values for TikTok dopamine hits and applause from the activist echo chamber. This wasn't just a rant. It was a eulogy for the party he once proudly defended. He slammed them for abandoning unity, resilience, and reason, the very DNA of the American spirit. Instead of raising a generation to cherish their country, they're grooming cynics trained to despise it. For Maher, this betrayal was the final straw. He's not just mad, he's done.
Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much, has unfortunately had children who are and the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual test. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with?
You can feel Maher's fury boiling over with every word as he scorches the very party he once proudly supported. He accuses the Democrats of sinking into a smug, unbearably woke bubble, completely out of touch with the real lives of everyday Americans. Their shiny new ideals? Just recycled fantasies dressed up in trendy language, totally irrelevant to kitchen table issues. Case in point, AOC's so-called economic revolution. Maher slams it as nothing but socialism 2.0, a reboot of an early 20th century failure that's crashed every time it's been tried. Her grand pronouncements? Either laughably exaggerated, dangerously naive, or simply unworkable. Yet somehow, the Democratic machine is full steam ahead, crowning her the party's golden child for 2028. Maher isn't buying it. To him, this isn't the future. It's cosplay politics pretending to be a revolution. He's stunned that a party once standing shoulder to shoulder with the working class is now hooked on viral moments and utopian daydreams. For Maher, that disconnect was the final straw. He's done.
Never too early to strategize. Democrats have been having a lot of donor retreats lately where liberal strategists hold ideathons, where they try to figure out why they keep losing elections. You know, apart from using words like ideathon. And now one idea that's getting a lot of attention is the Dems need to find their Joe Rogan, a liberal Joe Rogan, because that's why Kamala lost. Republicans have a podcast.
That was one of their grand strategies, and honestly, it's not the worst idea on paper. Before the 2024 election, Democrats had pretty much nuked any goodwill they had with neutral media outlets and independent podcasts. Their obsession with ideological purity and rigid party lines turned off anyone who didn't march in lockstep. And when those once neutral voices dared to criticize them, forget civil discourse, the response was cancel culture, public shaming, and digital witch hunts. Predictably, the backlash was fierce. Many alienated voters didn't exactly run to Trump. They were pushed away by frustration, not fanaticism. People like Joe Rogan, a longtime centrist with massive reach, ended up telling his audience to vote Republican. That kind of shift doesn't just happen, it's provoked. It was the fallout of a party that chose to muzzle dissent instead of engaging it. Now Democrats are scrambling, hats in hand, trying to win back the very people they shut out. Problem is, you can't cancel someone on Monday and expect their vote on Tuesday. I don't think his mind is completely inflexible. His neck? Yes.
I don't think his mind is completely inflexible. His neck, yes. But not his mind. And he's expressed unease with some things Trump is doing, as has a certain disgruntled former employee named Elon Musk, who, like Joe, is another guy who 5 years ago was thought of as a liberal, but got driven into the other camp by bad attitudes and bad ideas, a reversal I completely understand, although I would never emulate. I also see the woke mind virus. I just don't jump from frying pans into fire.
Well, like it or not, more and more people are drifting toward the MAGA movement, and whether Bill Maher's ready to admit it or not, he seems to be inching that way too. Sure, he recently insisted he's not making the leap, but that's exactly what Elon Musk, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, and Joe Rogan all said before the Democratic Party's hard left spiral forced their hand. Maher may not be rocking the red cap just yet, but listen closely, the grievances, the disillusionment, the worldview, it all starts to rhyme. He's done with performative virtue signaling, sick of censorship games, and baffled by how quickly his party abandoned common sense. When your values no longer match your party's direction, the break is inevitable. Every monologue sounds like he's halfway out the door. Democrats have become a walking contradiction, railing against the rich while cozying up to billionaire donors and oligarchs, shouting about racial equality while sidelining voices like Rashida Tlaib, claiming to fight for the working class yet backing candidates who've never known real paycheck struggles. And the so-called party of intellect handed the mic to someone who can barely speak without a teleprompter and divine intervention. It's hypocrisy on stilts, wrapped in delusion with a side of smug. So honestly, why wouldn't someone like Maher be looking for the exits? When a party drifts from reality, mocks its base, and trades substance for performative symbolism, even loyalists start rethinking things. And Maher? He's got one foot out the door and the other tapping impatiently.
You think people don't remember when you do this to them? That it's not going to have blowback? Now me, again, you don't have to win me back because I never left. But all the guys in America like Joe and Elon, yeah, you do have to win them back. The good news is you can. Elon has gone from saying, I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man.
So what more proof do you need that Maher is packing up and heading for the exit? He's practically pleading in plain English. Don't give me the ick if you still want my vote. And no, that's not a punchline, it's a last call. One he's repeated like a broken record, but this time you can hear it in his tone. The weariness, the edge in his sarcasm, the sting in every jab, and most telling of all, the patience that's long gone. Maher isn't just irritated anymore. He's flat out drained, worn out from trying to play referee in a party that's too busy shouting over itself to listen. Sick of pretending the far left hasn't hijacked the wheel and driven the whole bus off a cliff. At this point, he's not making requests. He's delivering a post-mortem. He's not asking Democrats to change. He's just laying out with brutal honesty why he's already walking away.
A couple of weeks ago, Bobby Kennedy, scion of the most storied dynasty in Democratic Party history, dropped out of the presidential race and threw his support not to the Democrat, but to Trump. And everyone all at once said the same thing. Bobby Kennedy did something weird?
With an avalanche of examples, Maher is unloading loud, clear, and relentless. It's getting harder to pretend he's not already halfway out the door. This isn't a vague hint or idle grumbling. It's a slow-motion exit in broad daylight. Here's the kicker. While it might look like the left is inching back toward the center, don't fall for the mirage. That cozy illusion could vanish in a heartbeat if they anoint Bernie Sanders, AOC, or Gavin Newsom as their 2028 frontrunners. These standard-bearers of woke politics could drag the party straight back into the ideological abyss. Cancel culture, socialist fantasies, and flag-burning rhetoric included. If Democrats fall into that trap again, they won't just lose folks like Maher. They'll hemorrhage middle-class voters, alienate independents, and kiss key swing states goodbye. Elevating those figures isn't progress. It's political cliff diving. And if they take that leap, they'll be serving up the White House to the GOP on a silver platter. No recounts, no suspense. At its core, Maher's anger isn't just personal. It's symptomatic of a broader awakening. Lifelong liberals like him watch their party swap principles for platitudes, depth for hashtags. While he's not rallying at a Trump event anytime soon, his message sounds less like a plea and more like a siren. A warning shot across the bow. If Democrats keep doubling down on radicalism with figures like AOC, Bernie, or Newsom, they're not just testing Maher's loyalty. They're torching their own path back to power. America isn't begging for another revolution. It's begging for sanity. Unless the left course corrects fast, Maher's voice won't be an outlier. It'll be the first of many marching out the door.